Abraham Lincoln was an American lawyer and politician who served as the 16th President of the United States from 1861 until his assassination in April 1865. Lincoln led the nation through the Civil War, its bloodiest war and its greatest moral, constitutional, and political crisis. In doing so, he preserved the Union, abolished slavery, strengthened the federal government, and modernized the economy. February 12, 1809, Lincoln was born into a poor family in Kentucky as the second child of Thomas and Nancy Hanks Lincoln. Though poor, the family strived to make ends meet, and Lincoln started hard and worked hard. However, life was not gentle to them as Lincoln's mother, Nancy, passed away when Lincoln was only 9 years old.
Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, presided over the bloodiest war in U.S. history. Would not preserve the Union and ended slavery. He was also one of the era's great road stylists, drawing on his boyhood in Kentucky, Indiana, and his young manhood in rural Illinois. President. Hey, Miss. Hey, Miss.
Yes?
What does the word president mean?
Oh, let me check. Let me Google that. The president means the person who has the highest political position in a country that is a republic and who in some of this country is the leader of the government.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I get it. President. Thank you.
You're welcome.
President. I want to be a president. When she died, I tried to call it at the age of the 40s.
Lincoln was a diligent child, and he always brought a book with him everywhere. Even after a day's work, he still studied tirelessly under the illumination of one lantern, and he studied until dawn every day, because he found the books wildly interesting and intriguing. Once Lincoln heard that Mr. Crawford has the autobiography of George Washington. He rushed miles to ask him to lend him the book.
Mr. Gloss, I heard that you have bought a new book. It's about Washington. May I borrow your new book?
Oh, you want this book? Let me find about it. you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so everyone can choose 2 questions. Okay, so there's choice for everyone. You can choose either 2 simple questions or 1 hard questions.
Teacher, I want to choose the hard one.
Okay, so how does the egg come from?
I think it's come from hens.
Then where does chickens come from?
Teacher, but that's more than 1 question.
Lincoln skillfully danced around the egg-hen problem that no one has ever been able to answer in the history. Due to many reasons, Lincoln dropped out of school after only 12 months. He did this so he could work and support his family financially. For a while, he worked as a shopkeeper, and his honesty made him popular among other people.
Oh, miss, may I help you?
Excuse me, I want to buy tea.
Tea? We sold boxing gloves, but it's okay. We also sold tea. Yeah, it's cost $87.
$87?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here you go. Okay, thank you. $87, it's right. Oh, no. I mistake. It's $78. I should turn the money back.
The slavery problem was very serious, and Lincoln started to devote himself to learn laws in order to make changes. At 1836, he finally became a lawyer and excelled in law and public speaking. He stuck to only one purpose when it came to decide which case he would work on, and that is whether his client is righteous or not. He did not care for the money, but instead, he cared only for justice. Later on, Lincoln started his political career. However, he faced constant failure and was tormented. He went for the state senator, but lost over and over and over and over. He tried 11 times in total, but succeeded only twice. Those days were hard, and there are doubts and insecurities. Nevertheless, Lincoln kept his head held high and kept going on.
What? How could it happen? No.
It was not until 1860 that he became the President of the United States as a candidate of the Republicans. The Southern states seceded from the Union as soon as he became the president, but he did not back down. No matter how hard the conditions were for him, he always had a sense of humor and wit to make through it.
Oh, hey, Mr. President! Seriously? You're shining your shoes yourself?
Or do you shine other people's shoes?
Lincoln won the people's respect by his wit and humor. In 1861, the Civil War had started. It was a terrible bloody war that lasted 4 years. Lincoln, though just became the President of the United States, led the North with tremendous power and strength. In 1863, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which is an order that freed those slaves in southern states. A few years later, he helped pass the 13th Amendment of the Constitution and made slavery illegal all over the states. The Civil War finally ended on 1865, April 9th, as General Lee surrendered.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, cannot endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a large sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our power to add or detract. The world will little know, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, should not perish from the earth.
Lincoln! Lincoln is president! President!
Lincoln! 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 Woo! 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 Lincoln! Woo!
Lincoln's great contribution made him elected again as the president. He wanted to put the country together and help the South rebuild. Unfortunately, he did not live long enough to see that happen. In less than a week after the end of the Civil War, Lincoln was shot dead while he was with his wife watching a play in the Ford Theater in Washington, D.C. by John Wilkes Booth, a man who frenetically provocates the slavery. Lincoln died the next morning at age 56 on February 15, 1865. He was the first president to be assassinated. He is widely considered as the greatest president of United States history. His leadership during the Civil War and his defense of human liberty made him an American hero. His face is on the $5 bills and pennies. He was included on Mount Rushmore, and a memorial of him stands in Washington, D.C. He is remembered as a great president until today.